Hello everyone and welcome back to Always Watching. Today we are discussing the film Nawi. So briefly, Nawi follows a 13-year-old girl who is sold off by her father to a much older man. This was an impressive and brave pick by Kenya for the Academy Awards. It's entirely told from Nawi's perspective. This young girl meant to represent millions of other girls whose lives were destroyed by child marriage. Nawi's life ends the same day it begins. The movie starts on the day of her final exams. As soon as her test results come in, she is informed by her father that she will be married off to an older man in the village. Her father, desperate and in need of money, tries to mask his greed and guilt by telling Nawi she should be proud that a man with resources wants her. Child marriage is unfortunately very rampant, and it's usually due to poverty. A lot of families rely on these dowries from old men, like the one Nawi is forced to marry in order to survive. This practice of selling children for livestock is seen as an economic necessity. These dowries can offer immediate financial relief to other members of the family. In addition, a lot of the communities that practice child marriage are in very remote areas, so it's very difficult for the police to crack down on it. And you see this in the film. Police and aid workers know what's going on, but they're just not able to find proof. And even if they are, it just creates hostility within these communities who feel like they have no other choice. Nawi's community feels like it's at the edge of the world. It takes place in Turkana, located in northern Kenya, and this is an area known for its difficult living conditions. It has limited resources and poor infrastructure. I thought the tone of the film really reflected the emotional state of a young girl. She maintains hope that her father might change his mind, especially considering her test results were the best in the country. And her life is literally at a crossroads, and her father has to make a decision. Do we continue to do the same thing we've been doing for decades, for centuries, or do we change? Or do we try to do something different? And I think because the movie is told from her perspective and she believes there's a chance of getting out of this, we as an audience also believe that she could possibly get out of this. Nawi's father is one of the most frustrating characters this entire film. I think because we are seeing things through Nawi's eyes, it's very hard for us to determine if her father is as conflicted as he seems or if he's just a monster using his daughter as a bargaining chip. Nawi's marriage changes everybody's lives, specifically her brother's. Her engagement forces him to become a man early in life. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of this movie is watching these children come to the realization that a lot of the dreams and aspirations that they had for themselves will likely never come true. What makes child marriage particularly violent is that it allows men to view women as property. And you see that in the film. Women are not only tasked with cooking and cleaning, they are also construction workers, they are building homes, they are maintaining homes, and the men are just sitting there, lounging, measuring their self-worth. And Nawi's father has so many chances to save his daughter. Instead, he doubles down. And a lot of these beliefs and values driving someone like Nawi's father is deeply embedded into this society, to the point where deviating from it would be seen as an act of treason. And the movie tries its best to get you to listen but not judge, and really try to get people to understand where this is coming from. Nawi had the potential to go to school and really help her community, and the lack of education is a massive obstacle. Her father could not see her worth outside of marriage, and he had really difficulty understanding how her education would not only provide for the community, but their family as a whole. One of the points the creep she marries makes is that without this practice of marrying children, girls would vanish. And he purposely targets girls who have the most potential in order to maintain the status quo. And it becomes clear that this has nothing to do with money. This is more of a power play to make sure that this hierarchy that exists in this society never changes. Once Nawi realizes that her father will not change his mind, she goes from believing she is one in a million to one of a million. She no longer feels her life is unique or special or filled with promise. She slowly starts to view herself as property. I love that the movie was narrated through journal entries. She literally starts to run out of things to write as her chances of getting out of this marriage decreases. And personally, I recognize myself in Nawi. I understand what it means to be a young girl with all these dreams. You don't really know what to do with yourself. And I think because of her optimism and her potential, you really feel like, okay, it's inevitable she makes it out. Like, something has to give. And it's sad to think that child marriage has destroyed the lives of so many young girls who had the potential to change the world. These men who are willing to marry young children are sickos and pedophiles who use tradition and culture in order to justify their own perversions and their greed. And I think we often forget that culture is man-made, and people often like to use culture to violate their religion and even their country's laws. Nawi is sacrificed by her father, and now she has to make the decision about whether or not she saves herself or she sacrifices herself in hopes of giving her family a better life. I think this tension between the community and the individual is wonderfully played out by Nawi's internal struggle. On one hand, she wants to flee, but on the other hand, she can't leave anyone behind. Even though Nawi knows what's happening to her is a crime, she feels obligated to give up her life for their future. And this whole movie is essentially watching a childhood obliterate. And she slowly starts to detach from who she hoped she would become into what her father has destined her to be. And I think Nawi's transformation from the start of the film to the end of the film is devastating, because even as an audience, we start to give up hope. We start to let go of this idea that maybe she will go to school, maybe things will turn out differently, to I really hope this doesn't happen to anyone else. At the moment, it is estimated that more than 640 million girls alive today were married as children. Each year, approximately 12 million girls are married before they turn 18. And I think due to the state of the world as it is now, this is a practice that's likely to get worse, especially considering what's fueling it is poverty. And so I highly recommend this film, and keep a lookout, and until next time.